The belt whistled before it struck. I didn't cry out. Not anymore. Frank's breath reeked of beer as he stood over me, red-faced, veins bulging at his temples. "You think you can talk back to me?" He barked, belt raised again. I didn't answer. I'd learned silence was safer. The sting tore through my back as leather met skin. My knees buckled, but I stayed upright. If I fell, it'd be worse. Always worse. Out of the corner of my eye, I saw Karen, my mother, standing by the door, arms crossed, eyes dry. She didn't flinch, didn't move. That's when it changed. Not the beatings, those were routine. But something in me cracked open and stayed open when I saw her. Not him, her. The woman who once read me bedtime stories and brushed my hair. Who told me the world was hard, but home would be safe. She didn't stop him. She never had. "I warned you, Jack," Frank growled, slamming the belt onto the kitchen table. "You talk smart again, and next time I'll break your jaw." I heard the front door creak. My little sister Emma, barefoot, standing on the porch, wide-eyed. She saw my shirt torn open, blood on my side. Her lip quivered, but she said nothing. Karen turned to her. "Go inside. Now." Emma didn't move. "Now, Emma." I watched as she vanished into the house, her face pale and tight. Karen closed the door behind her, then looked at me. That same blank stare. "Why do you provoke him, Jack?" she said, like it made sense, like this was math and not war. "I didn't," I muttered. My voice was cracked, small, not mine. "You did something," she replied. "You always do something." Frank grunted, pulled a cigarette from his flannel pocket, and stepped out to the yard. The screen door slammed behind him. I stood there, breath shallow, trying to stay upright. Blood was dripping down my side. I didn't ask for help. Karen grabbed a dish towel and threw it on the table without a word. That was the last time I bled in that kitchen. The last time I looked her in the eye and searched for something that used to be there. Warmth, maybe. Pity, even shame. Nothing came. I didn't run away that night. I didn't have to. I just stopped needing her. Both of them. Whatever broke inside me didn't cry for fixing. It hardened. That night, I wrapped the towel around my ribs and lay in bed staring at the ceiling, tracing cracks in the plaster. I knew the pain would fade. It always did. But the silence, the way she watched him hurt me and did nothing, that would stay. And I made myself a promise I didn't speak aloud. One day, I'd leave and never come back. Not for her. Not for anyone. I moved out 3 weeks after I turned 18. No goodbye, no note. My duffel bag held exactly what I needed. 3 shirts, 2 pairs of jeans, a worn notebook, and the envelope of cash I'd hidden for a year beneath the floorboard behind my bed. Frank had taught me stealth. Ironic. I didn't look back at the house. I knew if I did, something might tether me again, and I couldn't afford that. Not even for Emma. Especially not for Emma. The first few months were chaos. Cheap motels, day labor. My ribs still ached sometimes when I lifted heavy crates at the loading docks. But the pain was mine now. No one inflicted it. That counted for something. I got lucky. A guy named Martin at the warehouse noticed I never missed a shift. Offered me a couch, then an extra room when his roommate left. It wasn't family, but it was honest. Still, I carried questions. Late nights I'd lie on that scratchy twin mattress and try to untangle the past. Not just the beatings, I could file those away like x-rays in a drawer. It was the silence. Karen's silence. Her arms folded across her chest, her mouth a tight line as Frank snapped his belt. Why? Was she scared? Did she hate me? Or worse, did she believe I deserved it? One night I called the house. I don't know what I wanted. Her voice, maybe, an apology. Something, anything. She answered on the second ring. "Hello?" I froze. "It's me." A pause. "Jack?" Her voice was small, like it used to be. like she'd stepped out of a memory. My throat tightened. I just wanted to know why, I said. Why what? You let him hurt me. Another pause. Then, it was complicated, Jack. I laughed, bitter, hollow. Number it wasn't. You don't understand what it was like for me. Don't, I snapped. Don't make this about you. I was trying to keep the family together, for Emma. She saw it all, I said. Every bruise, every scream. Silence. Then the line went dead. That was the last time I called, but it wasn't the last I heard from her. A year later, a letter arrived. Neat handwriting, no return address. She asked if we could talk, said she missed me, that things were different now. I tore it in half without reading the rest. The past didn't deserve a second chance. But that night, I dreamed of Emma, her tiny feet on the porch, the way she looked at me like I was the only person who could save her. My chest tightened. Maybe I hadn't just left them. Maybe I'd abandoned her too. I needed answers. Real ones. Not from letters. I had to see her. Not Karen. Emma, if she still lived there, if she remembered. So I made a plan. I circled the date on the calendar. 1 month from now, I'd go back. Not to stay, not for closure. For the truth. 1 visit, 1 conversation. I just didn't know if I could survive it. The driveway was cracked and overgrown with weeds. The same rusted mailbox leaned sideways, its flag missing. Nothing had changed. That made it worse. I sat in my car for 10 minutes, watching the front door like it might open on its own, like the house would recognize me and spit me out. I didn't even know if Emma still lived here. Maybe no one did. I got out. Each step toward the porch felt like walking underwater, heavy, slow. The wooden boards groaned under my boots, same as they used to under my bare feet when I'd sneak out for air, for quiet. I knocked. A moment later, the door opened. Karen. Her hair was shorter, streaked with gray. She wore a pale sweater, hands gripping the frame like it might hold her up. She looked surprised, but not shocked, like she'd been waiting. Jack, she said, voice brittle. I'm not here for you, I said. Is Emma home? Her face shifted. Some mask dropped, something else flickering behind her eyes. She's not here. I stepped back. Then I'm done. Wait, please. Her voice cracked. I shouldn't have, but I stopped. Just 5 minutes, she said. Please. I followed her in. The kitchen still smelled like burnt coffee and bleach, the same table, the same walls. My body remembered before my mind did, my spine tightening, breath shallow. She sat across from me. No one spoke. I tried to leave him once, she said finally. When you were 12. I packed bags. Emma was in the car. He found us at the gas station. I said nothing. He hit me, she said. In front of her. I came back because I thought if I didn't, he'd kill us. I looked her in the eye. You let him hit me for 6 more years. She didn't cry, just nodded. I know, she whispered. I know. Why are you telling me this now? Because I want you to forgive me. My fingers clenched on the chair. You don't get that. I just want my son back. I was never yours, I said, standing. She reached for my wrist. I flinched. You still think this is about you, I said. But it's not. It's about Emma, and she's not here. So I'm leaving. She followed me to the door. Jack, if you ever want to talk. I turned to her. Emma's the only person I ever tried to protect. And I left her. Because of you. So no, I don't want to talk. I stepped outside. Her voice came one last time. She lives in the city. She's safe. She's doing well. I didn't look back. In the car, my hands shook, not with anger, not fear, with nothing. I'd come expecting rage, maybe tears, but what I felt now was worse. Empty. The house faded behind me in the rearview mirror. I drove without music, without thought, for hours, until the sun dropped and headlights painted the dark in streaks. I pulled over at a rest stop, punched the steering wheel once, twice. Then I broke. Not loud, no sobs, just a slow, shaking breath that wouldn't end. A grief so deep it was silent. I curled into the seat and stayed there until dawn. I didn't go home. I didn't go anywhere for a while. I drifted through days like a man walking out of smoke, work, sleep, repeat. But something had changed in the pit of me, not cracked, shifted, like a stone had finally dislodged, and now I could breathe around it. I found Emma. Not in person. Not yet. I searched her online. Different last name. She'd married, studied psychology, worked at a shelter for abused teens. I stared at her staff photo for a long time. Her smile was real, wide and unguarded. She'd made it. I didn't call her. I wasn't ready. Maybe I never would be. But just knowing she existed in the world, safe, was enough to steady me. Then came the fire. It was an idea first, a whisper in the back of my mind. I remembered the attic at Martin's place, boxes I hadn't opened since I'd moved in. A shoebox of photos, letters, scraps from childhood I never had the guts to throw away. I opened it one evening. Inside, a drawing Emma made when we were kids. Me with a cape. Her with a crown. My hero, she'd written underneath. There was the old report card Karen signed, the one where Frank broke my pencil in half for getting a B. There was a letter I wrote to myself at 16, folded so many times it had gone soft around the edges. Just survive, you'll get out, I promise. I didn't cry. I didn't rage. I lit a match. One photo at a time, I fed the fire in the pit behind Martin's shed. Not angry, not symbolic, just necessary. Every flame felt like carving out space inside me. Space for something that wasn't fear. Martin came out halfway through. He didn't say anything. Just stood there with his coffee, watching the fire crackle. "You good?" he asked. I nodded. "Need help?" "Number, I got it." He went back inside. The next day, I visited a tattoo shop, got a small one on my wrist, just a line, a horizon, the artist called it. To me, it meant breath, movement, that I was here now, not back there. Weeks passed. I started speaking more at work, joking, asking questions. I made a friend named Luis who invited me to dinner, and I actually said yes. One night, I wrote a letter to Emma. I didn't send it. In it, I told her about the porch, the blood, the towel, and how I remembered her eyes, the way she never blinked. I told her she was the reason I never stopped believing freedom existed, even when everything else was gone. At the bottom, I wrote, "I think you saved me, even if you didn't mean to." I folded it and placed it back in the box. Not to burn, to keep. I wasn't angry anymore. I wasn't broken. I was building, brick by brick, choice by choice. And for the first time, I wasn't doing it to prove anything. Not to Frank, not to Karen, not even to Emma, just to live. The call came late on a Wednesday, a number I didn't recognize. I let it ring out. Then a text. "Karen's in hospice. She's asking for you." I stared at it for a long time. 5 words, no name, no plea, just a fact. I didn't reply, but the words followed me into sleep, into work, into the quiet between things. I didn't owe her anything. But still, I kept thinking of her hands that day on the porch. Not the ones folded, watching me bleed. The ones reaching out when I turned away. It wasn't forgiveness that brought me back. It wasn't guilt either. I needed something else. A line drawn. A door closed. The hospice was small, tucked into a quiet street surrounded by pines. the kind of place that smelled like antiseptic and forgotten stories. She was thinner, bones visible under the sheets, eyes pale, tired. But she smiled when I entered. "I didn't think you'd come," she said. "I'm not staying long." She nodded as if she understood. Maybe she did. "I'm sorry," she said, "not for what I let him do. I'll never be able to make that right, but for what I became. I stopped being your mother, and I knew it." The silence hung between us like smoke. "You kept loving him," I said, "after everything." "No," she whispered. "I kept fearing him. There's a difference." "You still chose him." She didn't deny it. "I used to think," I continued, "that if you ever apologized, it'd fix something, that it would unlock the past, set it straight, but it doesn't." She looked at me. No tears, just eyes full of things she didn't have time to say. "I don't hate you," I said, "but I don't need you." Her lips trembled. She nodded again. "That's okay." I stood, walked to the door. Before I left, I looked back once. Her eyes were closed, face calm. That was the last time I saw her. A week later, the call came. She was gone. No funeral, no service. Emma took care of the paperwork. We spoke briefly. Our voices were light, careful, like we were new to each other again, like children in a house of glass. The box of ashes arrived on my doorstep in an unmarked parcel. I didn't bring it inside. Instead, I drove. Upstate, a lake I'd once seen in a magazine, quiet, clean. I dug a hole beneath a pine and poured the ashes in. No speech, no memory. Then I took the last photo from my pocket, the one where I was 6 and smiling, before it all turned, and tossed it in. Lighter fluid. A match. The fire was silent. I watched until it was gone, until all that was left was heat curling into air. Then I turned, walked away.